Any builder who's been around the block has ordered a window wrong and had to put it in their shed later, or stocked the door in your warehouse only to sell it for pennies on the dollar a few years later on Craigslist. On the Build Show today, we're going to give you a checklist on how to avoid those mistakes. My friend Zack Dettmore is going to give us all the info. Let's get going.
What's up, everyone? Zack Dettmore from Dettmore Home Improvements, and today on the Build Show, I'm talking about how to order windows correctly the first time. Man, I've screwed up a lot of window orders in the past. Let me show you a little sheet that helps me order them correctly on the Build Show. All right, so here's the sheet. I don't use this sheet as much anymore. I typically do this stuff in spreadsheets now, but this was a little cheat sheet I made years ago. Maybe it'll be helpful, and it's a good way of exemplifying some of the options that are available for windows. So we start with the first thing. The reason you want to get windows ordered correctly the first time is because there's a huge lead time for windows, and if you have it wrong, that can totally hijack your exterior package, your interior trim package. It can throw the whole schedule out, so you do want to take the time to get this done correctly. So let's talk about just ordering one window with one piece of sheet. We're going to work this through together. So what's the unit height? What's the unit width? What's the rough opening height? What's the rough opening width? You don't necessarily have to fill out both of these, but you do have to understand the difference. The rough opening is the framed size, and the unit dimensions are the largest dimension of the unit itself. Typically, you want some sort of gap around the window for insulation and play, especially when you have situations where you're trying to center it over a sink. You want to be able to wiggle that window back and forth a bit so you can get it dead center exactly where you want and have your tolerances right. What type of window is it? Is it a replacement window? Is it a new construction window? A new construction window is typically going in a new house, maybe it has a nailing flange, and you are penetrating through that flange into the framing, and that's what's holding the window in, whereas a replacement window is basically going into the pocket of where you had typically old weight and chain windows. So it's going inside of that, and it's filling this wooden opening that was existing. There are a lot of replacement windows that are also new construction that are flangeless. Certainly you've seen a lot of those on the Build Show if you follow Steve Basic. But for general construction, it's either nailing fin or a replacement window is what's going in most houses in the United States right now. Then you have cladding. Cladding is what's going on the outside of the window, right? So it could just be normally wood, right? But also you have aluminum clad, vinyl cladding, and then composite cladding of different types like fiberglass. The next one is impact rated. If it's by the ocean or anywhere where there's a lot of wind, you may want impact rated windows. Then there's the location of it. So thinking about where the sun is, do you need any additional thermal control? That's why we write down what side of the house is it on, and also when you're unpacking the truck, it's easier to stagger things where they're coming. I have this little column here where you can draw the window if you're a novice and you're worried about it. Sometimes making a drawing of it and sending it to the person supplying you with the window can save you from making a mistake and making an assumption, or them making an assumption. And then there's styles of windows. You have awning windows, which open like an awning. Basement windows, casement windows swing out, double hung, single hung, which is just the bottom is operable. Picture windows, just a fixed unit. You've got projecting windows and single hung windows and garden and bays and trapezoids. Trapezoids I see a lot of because there's a lot of houses built in the 1980s through 1990s that had these trapezoidal windows, and they're really difficult to measure. So take your time to get those measurements correct, because if you don't have them correct, you'll have the roof angle, and then you'll have the trapezoid window will be slightly different, and you'll see that bit of drywall, a bit of siding will grow, and it looks horrible. So definitely be careful with trapezoid windows. That was scary. Then we have to talk about glass. You've obviously got tempered glass. There's a lot of codes relating to if a window's close to the ground or at the bottom of a staircase or near a bathtub, you want it to be tempered. Low E glass is a coating that's applied to deal with heat. You've got single glazed windows, double glazed, triple glazed, quadruple glazed windows, factory frosted glasses, frostings you'll add on after. I've done a lot of like 3M applied films that we'll put on. Then we have to talk about the swing of the window. If it's a casement, right, is it swinging this way? Is it swinging that way? Left-hand swing, right-hand swing. What color is the hardware? You've got locks and cranks on windows typically. You got to know what color the hardware is. What color is the window cladding? What color is the interior? I find if you can get these things pre-finished, it's usually cheaper to have the factory paint something rather than have your painters paint them in the field. And also they may get a superior finish if you have the factory do it. And then there's grids. So a lot of historic houses we work on have grids dividing the glasses. There's a couple different ways. You can do simulated divided light, which is called SDL, and that's basically like a little piece of wood that's applied to the inside and the outside, but the glass runs through. There's grid between glass, or grid between the glass, yeah, GBG, and that's basically an insulated panel of glass, so it's 2 layers, and then in the middle there's the grill. And the nice thing about that is it's easy to clean, but it does look a little hokey in instances where you're right on top of it and you're looking at it. And then there's also like true divided light where you have individual panels of glass between wood. So understanding what those are, and then that's pretty much it. There's so much complexity with windows. Getting all the options onto one sheet isn't possible, but I tried to put the options on that were most common, just so when I'm ordering things, I don't overlook them. So if you think this sheet would be helpful, take a look at it, and hopefully you learned something and you will not order a window incorrectly like I have dozens of times. See you next time on The Build Show.
All right, guys, this has been a Build Show Best Of. If you don't know Zack Dettmore, he's a fabulous builder, carpenter, remodeler based out of New Jersey. Our friends over at This Old House actually had him on the previous season, so he's gotten more and more famous these days. But I'd like to think that the Build Show made him famous to begin with. He's been shooting videos with us now for a couple years, and I love Zack. He's very engaging. He's got a really unique sense of humor. And by the way, you should go follow him on Instagram. He's posting stories every day that make me feel like I'm on a ride along with Zack, and he's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my whole life. So Zack Dettmore, go follow him on social. Go see his videos over on thebuildshow.com. And lastly, in the description will be a link for our newsletter. If you sign up for that newsletter, my team is going to send you an email on Tuesdays, and I think it's Fridays and Sundays, with everything that's new on the site, including Zack's brand new videos. And trust me, you don't want to miss Zack's content. He is a fabulous carpenter, really sharing his wisdom. And again, like all of our contributors, everything's totally free on the site. With that being said, hit the subscribe button below. New content here every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.